F1 has a long track record of what could only be called interesting results, with many feeling aggrieved at various outcomes. One of those who feel they have been cheated out of no less than an F1 world title is Felipe Massa, with the Brazilian driver adamant that the 2008 Formula 1 driver's title belongs to him, and it looks like the former Ferrari driver has revealed his secret plan to expose Hamilton and ultimately rewrite the history books. Not only that, but it looks like Michael Schumacher's 1994 title could be stripped away from the legendary German driver. Want to know what Massa's grand scheme is to get the 2008 title in his name? Well then stick around to find out, and hang around until the end as we uncover why Michael Schumacher's 1994 title could be in jeopardy. So what exactly does the Brazilian feel so aggrieved by? Well, Massa is bringing legal action against the FIA and FOM challenging the result of the 2008 World Championship following reported comments from ex-F1 boss Bernie Ecclestone that claimed that the Brazilian was cheated out of the title that year in the wake of the infamous Crashgate scandal at Singapore. A crucial turning point in Hamilton winning his maiden title by a single point from Ferrari's Massa in dramatic fashion was at the Singapore Grand Prix in 2008. Hamilton finished third in a rain-affected night race to pip Massa to the title in controversial circumstances following a crash by Nelson Piquet Jr. Of course, the title wasn't actually secured until 3 races later in Brazil, and there was an awful lot of racing to happen in between. Massa started on pole but could only finish 12th after a botched pit stop. And while this might not sound too different from any other typical race where misfortune can come into play, this is actually where it all gets very interesting, as Renault driver Piquet admitted in 2009 that he crashed deliberately on the orders from his team to get the safety car deployed in order to help teammate Fernando Alonso, who subsequently won the race. Ecclestone later made headlines by allegedly stating that both he and then the Team FIA president, Max Mosley, had prior knowledge about the intentional nature of Piquet's crash, but chose not to address it immediately. He said to F1 Insider in March, "We wanted to protect the sport and save it from a huge scandal. The rule was that a World Cup ranking was untouchable after the FIA awards ceremony at the end of the year, so Hamilton was offered the trophy and everything was fine. I still feel sorry for Massa today. He won the final race at his home in Sao Paulo and did everything right. He was robbed of the title he deserved, while Hamilton had all the luck in the world and won his first championship. Today, I would have settled it differently. That's why, for me, Michael Schumacher is still the sole record holder, even if the statistics say otherwise." A saying goes, let sleeping dogs lie, and in this case, we probably think that is precisely what Felipe Massa should do. But firstly, we are not Felipe Massa, and secondly, we don't feel like we were robbed of a world title. So what is the former Ferrari man's motivation for this, and how exactly does he plan on getting the 2008 world title into his name? Massa has entrusted the case to London-based Enyo Law, which formally initiated litigation earlier this month. The firm contending that Massa was the victim of a conspiracy committed by individuals at the highest level of F1, together with the FIA and Formula 1 management. The law firm asserts that Massa suffered substantial financial losses amounting to tens of millions of euros due to foregone earnings and bonuses as a result of the deliberate crash orchestrated by the Renault team in the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix, and which spiraled into a scandal in 2009. Speaking to Motorsport.com's Brazilian affiliate, Massa said that he was determined to see justice prevail. While he admitted that compensation was a component of his lawyer's litigation proceedings, it is not his primary objective. It's pretty clear that we're going to finish just when we have the result that we believe is correct for the justice of the sport. That's why we decided to get together a very big and important legal team. I'm doing that for the sport. I'm doing that to show the manipulation is not a part of our much beloved sport. I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it for the justice of the sport, Massa said. Well, as much as we want to believe this, indeed if Massa were to win this court case, there would be a significant amount of compensation for the ex-Ferrari man. I mean, we are talking a pretty big case all round. I mean, he managed to construct a pretty epic team of lawyers. They are no small-time players, and it will be interesting to see how this plays out, but it looks like they will be looking for help from 2 other parties, the first being Massa's former employees, and the second one is rather out there and someone we would not have expected. I have one certainty, that the title is mine and it's Ferrari's 16th driver's title. I don't understand why the case of manipulation cannot be verified in the right way, even a year, 2 years, or 15 years later. At this moment, I have not yet had the support of Ferrari, but I expect help from them. I am optimistic. I will fight for the justice until the end, Massa said. Interestingly, and most likely a very tricky situation, as Felipe's team boss at the time was none other than Stefano Domenicali, who is well known as the head of FOM and looks after F1 for Liberty. So good luck with that one, Felipe. And even in that case, that the Ferrari's current team principal has said that it will be weird looking at something that happened 15 years ago, and we tend to agree. The second person that is an integral part to Massa's secret plan is Lewis Hamilton himself. Yep, you heard that right. Massa's team wants Lewis Hamilton to help his cause. Sao Paulo Vieira Rezende Advogados are currently representing Massa in his case and have urged Hamilton to assist in their cause. Speaking to Reuters, Bernardo Viana of the law firm that represents Massa went on to say, "Hamilton is an honorary Brazilian citizen and very well liked by Brazilians, so I hope he will support us." They continued to praise the Englishman, revealing that the case is not against Hamilton, but is to defend the sporting integrity. He is an important ambassador for the sport and has always defended sporting integrity. We have absolutely nothing against Hamilton, Viana continued. Sorry Felipe and team, we're not sure that this is your best tactic, and you should probably just stick to the traditional avenues, as we doubt that Hamilton will give up one of his world titles. I think Felipe needs to ask himself, if he were in the same position, would he give up a title? Probably not. Speaking of 7-time world champions, another driver who holds that title and arguably the greatest driver of all time is Michael Schumacher, and it looks like even he is coming under pressure to have a title stripped. Michael Schumacher's F1 career is a story of unparalleled success. He won his first 2 major world championships with Benetton in 1994 and 95, establishing his dominance of the sport. In 1994, Schumacher established an impressive record by consistently finishing first or second in the races he contested. However, it was this season that sparked controversy. The controversy centers on the season-ending race at the Adelaide Street Circuit in Australia. Schumacher went into the race with a 1-point lead in the World Championship over British Williams driver Damon Hill, who was poised to take the title from the German. However, it was Schumacher's actions in this race that would change the course of F1 history. On lap 36 of the 1994 Australian Grand Prix, Schumacher, who was leading the race, collided with the wall, damaging the right side of his car. Knowing that he could not maintain his lead with the damage, Schumacher turned his car into Hill's path as the Briton attempted to overtake. The collision led to the immediate retirement of both drivers and denied Hill the chance to win the championship. Schumacher's actions in the race have long been the subject of debate and controversy. Many will argue that the incident tainted his championship win, and it remains one of the most controversial moments in F1 history, with Benoit suggesting that Schumacher should be stripped of the 1994 title. As a 6-time world champion, he definitely belongs in the top 5. Of course, I know that he was world champion 7 times, but the 1994 title should actually be taken away from him because he only won it because of his foul play on Damon Hill, said Benoit to Blick newspaper. Now, this is obviously almost 30 years later, and the likelihood of FOM and the FIA actually acting on this could be almost close to nil. Well, that's if Massa is not successful in his current legal battle, because let's be honest, if Massa wins his court case, then we could be on the brink of the F1 history books being rewritten for good. So, do we see Massa getting his desired outcome? Probably not, because it's a well-known fact that you have a set number of days to lodge an appeal, and in both of these cases, that is long gone. I mean, otherwise, hell, best believe Mercedes could be lodging a complaint too. Thanks as always for watching. We'd be curious to know your thoughts and opinions on the revoking of past titles. Should these be left to bed, or is there something to be said about maintaining the integrity of a sport that has shown time and time again to have integrity of a bridge made of matches? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to tap the like button, and while you're down there, subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up to date with all our future uploads. And hey, if you change your mind, you can always unsubscribe in 30 years' time.